All right, man. Well, I'll be here. Well, for you guys next week, but probably Sunday, Monday for me. Cause I'm watching that shit ASAP.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to something we aren't qualified to cover again. I feel like I've said this like 6 times this year.
Already,
We've only
yeah.
done 3 shows.
Copy Eli going dark.
Yeah.
All on you guys.
Blade Runner 2049. I put 2099, but that's wrong. It's 2049. Starring
Yes.
Ryan Gosling as K, because 1 letter is cooler than 2.
Yeah.
So, let me start with the positives.
Okay.
I really like the aesthetic of this.
Me too.
It
That was
looked
cool.
really cool. The world was great. I don't think it was too ridiculous to what we could see. However, that's like 24 years away at this point. 26 years away. It happened in 26 years.
It's not. Well,
It's not. Like, they keep doing this. Like, just think about Space Odyssey 2001. They thought we were going to be in space permanently in 2001.
Bro, think about Back to the Future, bro.
That was like
They
2017.
They thought we were going to have flying cars and fucking shoes that can fly.
Yeah.
In like 2010.
People got to stop doing that because they put it in like less than 50 years. You got to push at least 100 years for like significant changes to the average everyday life of a citizen.
Okay,
it's hard to do that. It never ages well.
Like, okay, but the argument that can be made for that is that look at what happened with this stuff all the way up until like 1950 or 19 even like 70 or 80, and then look at everything that has happened since then.
It's not
I
that
understand
crazy,
that,
though.
but
it is, but it isn't. Like, if you think about it, a lot of it is software based, not hardware based. A lot of the things that they're changing in this that you can see are hardware based. Like, the only things that are hardware that'd be crazy to someone from like that time period would be a phone. But if you break it down to it's a portable TV, they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Like, when I was a kid, I was like, imagine you had a TV watch, right? Now you do. Right? So, like, that's not too far-fetched. I never said, imagine I have a flying car in 20 years.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
It's a very material, hardware-based thing.
Yeah, like, that's not as likely to happen. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a significant change. You have to think about how it changed the infrastructure. Bro, it takes them fucking 8 months to build a fucking bus stop.
Yeah.
You think they're going to build a fucking flying railway system in 20 years?
It's very true.
No!
How long were they working on the freeway up north? Like 25 years?
I don't know.
I
Up north, by that
is.
we mean up north, North Pole.
Yeah, Santa.
North
Yeah, we don't give up our location here.
No, hell no. I mean, that's the thing, dude.
Construction takes forever, so.
Construction takes forever, dude. Like, honestly, we're like what 10 years into electric cars at this point, and they're still not super readily on the road at this point.
Well, let's be honest. That's a whole nother issue because
no, I understand.
Gas companies are like, no.
Yeah, I understand that, but like, what are gas companies gonna say to flying cars that run off fucking farts, bro? I don't know.
Run it off diesel.
Yeah.
Every flying car is gonna sound like. It's gonna sound like a fucking 1940s fucking tow mater truck.
Fucking buggy.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them gonna sound like my stomach after dinner.
Fucking backfire.
Yeah. It's gonna sound like shots in the hood, bro.
But yeah, I love the aesthetic of Blade Runner. I think anytime you do like a cyberpunk aesthetic, it's gonna look good. And just they didn't go too crazy with it. Is what I was saying. Like, yeah, he had a flying whip, but he was like a secret agent as well. So that makes more sense. Because what do they always give the military? They give them the coolest shit first.
Laser guns.
Soon, cope you.
We've only had that for 40 years. Well, we should have had it 20 years ago, according to the stuff 40 years ago.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling was fine. That's a positive.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, I like how he did.
Emo depressed boy number 4. And
Yeah. It's not a hard role to play, in my opinion.
No, not very. And Bautista was here, and Bautista was great for the 5 minutes.
Bautista killed it. Yes, sir. That's my guy.
He's such a good actor. There's like a short film that came out before this with more Bautista. I kind of want to watch it. It's like 5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I was lazy though, and this movie was already 3 hours long. So
Well, I told myself I was going to watch a YouTube recap of this one because I don't know what the fuck happened, but I forgot. So
it's not that complicated, bro.
No, it's
trolling.
not. But
I don't know, man. I don't know what the point was.
The plot was easy until Harrison Ford showed up.
Like,
yes,
I kind of understood.
100% agree.
But
no,
that was because you had to have prior knowledge for Harrison Ford.
I only sort of understood some of what was going on. Like, I thought I understood things, and then they were mixing things, and I didn't understand how they mixed, and so I got more confused.
Okay, well, I'm just going to break it down. If you read the paragraph at the beginning...
I did.
Yes.
The replicants...
You should understand what's happening pretty easily.
Bautista was an original.
Yes,
bro.
he was one of the
He was
old
the
ones.
OG, and that's why he talked shit to fucking new replicant.
And that made sense to me.
And he was like, "You're a piece of shit. You're hunting your own kind." He's like, "Yeah, but I don't run, pussy." And he's like, "You're stupid. Fuck yourself." They had their fight.
Yeah.
Killed
You'd
him.
run too if you saw what I seen. Like, seen some cool shit.
Yeah, and he was trying to find traces for more of the replicants. And so he found the box, and the box had the fucking bones in it. And the bones turned out they were previously a replicant that gave birth to another replicant, which is not something that's supposed to be possible. So they're like, oh shit, we need this technology because then we can make infinite replicates, because then we don't have to make them. We can make the replicates make them, you know? Very like a slave symbolism, you know? Make the slaves make more slaves. That's how they used to, you know, own children of slaves, you know?
See, that's what it kind of sounded like. And yet I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah, I just
kind of what they were going for.
But they also threw me off of that for some reason.
But, I mean, I don't know how they threw it off, because the entire movie, they kept saying that shit. Even fucking Jared Leto's bitch ass shut up, and he was like,
my God,
he was like, we need millions of them to have trillions of us. Like, they're saying, like, we can't work all what we need to make expansion in the world we need. We need these slaves to expand more. And he even said in the movie, he was like, yeah, people lost their stomach for slaves, da-da-da-da-da, so now we make ones that aren't humans, kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Granted, gosh, I already did not like Jared Leto. I didn't need to see him in this movie either.
I'm good on Jared Leto, bro.
Yeah, me too.
Anything he shows up in isn't very good.
I haven't seen him play a role that I like. I'm sorry.
Was he the woman in Dallas Buyers Club? Because that was actually might have been okay.
I'm not sure. I didn't watch it. I know he was the Joker in Suicide Squad. Didn't like it. Or I mean, sorry, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the first
I
one.
didn't like his Joker at all.
Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius I've just heard is bad, but I haven't. You know, I can't attest to that. We watched something. Was it the
Little
Lies
Things
or whatever? Little Things. Yeah. But
Wasn't very good.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
His band sucks. I forgot what they're called.
The Letos. No, I'm just kidding.
It's something weird like Mars. It's something space themed, I think. But yeah, that was very obvious symbolism to that, and then free will and a bunch of other shit, really, and like destiny. This movie has a lot of big themes that they try to fill out. It's very pretentious.
They fit every big theme into 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Yeah, so then he leaves and takes off, and then we see his e-girlfriend, Ana de Armas, aka Joy.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this movie too much credit. Because I was like, excuse me real quick, but I gave this movie credit to the point where I thought, like, okay, she's tapped in a little too much. She knows a little too much. I think they're going to reveal that she is like some sort of deity that's purposely leading him on these pathways.
It's pretty much what I was going for as well.
But then they were like, no, she is really just AI. She just be saying whatever he wanted to say. I'm like, oh, that's way less cool.
Yep.
So I was just like, whatever, dude. That kind of pissed me off in general. She did fine, but I want to start up a bigger conversation about sexploitation in movies.
Oh, here we go, yeah.
They very much like to do that with her. Specifically Ana de Armas. And I don't know if it's because, I don't even like getting into this kind of shit, but I don't know if it's because she is like a minority or whatever, or people like to fetishize like Spanish girls with Spanish accents and shit like that, or just colored people in general, but you gotta stop doing that shit, because it's kind of getting old to where you take certain actresses and turn them to sex symbols and just pimp them out in movies because people will come watch it for that.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I agree with that.
I don't see like a single thing where she was naked added anything to this fucking movie. Cause yet there was 6 of them.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
true.
There was one where the billboard was naked, bro.
Yeah.
What did that add? If she was clothed versus unclothed, what does that add to this? It doesn't even make fucking sense, because why would they don't want to add like that, because the children would see it.
Right. I don't know. I mean, this was rated R, probably because of that. To be honest, they're like, oh, people are gonna love to see this.
They weren't even cussing or shooting people like that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No,
so
it's literally just that.
Again, I just not into that shit. Maybe it's respectfully, maybe it's the only way they're willing to give her roles or whatever. But
she's not a bad actress.
No,
when she's actually acting.
Out.
Yeah,
but it's kind of bullshit, and I just don't like it. It's like, go do it to, like, you don't see bigger name actresses. She's a big name actress at this point. You don't see fucking Jennifer Lawrence doing this shit constantly. You don't see a lot of these chicks doing it. There's only a few of the new age ones do it, and I feel like it's because they're young and they're like, oh, we're gonna pimp you, basically. That's
the problem, dude. Is like they have to do it to start their careers sometimes, and it sucks. Yeah. Some get lucky and don't have to. Like, I mean, you look at like Natalie Portman, who got a lot of critique from the Star Wars movies, and people didn't want to hire her. But that was the start of her career, and she didn't have to do anything crazy for that except put on a bunch of black latex for no reason.
Yeah, and the only thing really she did crazy like that was maybe Black Swan.
Yeah, Black Swan was kind of crazy, but otherwise, nothing.
So it's just weird, and Hollywood's a weird fucking place, anyways, with a bunch of grown ass perverts running it.
I agree. Yeah.
So,
dude, it could be homie from Nickelodeon running it.
Oh no, Dan Schneider is already on the list, bro.
There was enough feet shots, bro. Motherfucker made the logo for Nickelodeon a foot. Think about how sick that dude is.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Like, whatever you do, just don't fetishize our logo, please. He's like, oh yeah, I got you. Here's a foot.
But so that basically was like a lot of the initial stuff, and it was just following his character arc and him finding purpose, because he actually hates his life, and he doesn't even like he has an e-girlfriend that's an AI, and he doesn't even talk to regular replicant women who are offering their services to him. He's like, no, I have my e-girlfriend at home, I'm okay. And then he buys a thing to bring his e-girlfriend with him everywhere, which was hilarious for a scene later that happened. He ended up so they started doing the memory thing. I was like, oh, okay, so he's the child of destiny, you know? I bought it for a while. I was like, okay, this makes sense. No, he goes to that scene where he talks to the girl in the bubble girl.
Yeah.
And this kind of threw me off because the way she said it. So I was like, there's something more to this at least. And she shows him the memory and everything like that, and she starts crying. I thought because she was tapped into memories like that, you know?
That's what I thought, yeah.
But the crying was at least she tapped in and she felt his pain or whatever. But the statement after is what I said, not sure about that. Because she said, someone did experience this. Now, I couldn't watch this movie with subtitles because I'm going to shit on Hulu real quick. Hulu, for some reason, has unsynced fucking subtitles for this movie.
Really?
Did any of you guys watch this with subtitles?
No,
because
I thought the audio was decent enough to where I didn't have to.
It was decent, but it's one of these movies where it's complicated, so I wanted to read it too. But
that's fair.
It was unsynced by like 10 seconds for me.
That's terrible.
I fixed it at one point, then it bugged out again, so I was very pissed, and so I couldn't hear what she said, so I had to rewind that part 3 times. But she said, someone did experience this, but she did not say you experienced this. Because she said you can feel the feelings of real memory versus like an implanted one. But this memory, so this memory was someone's real memory, but it wasn't created and implanted for him, you know? And that makes sense later in the movie when they do the reveal. And I was like, oh, that's actually a decent setup at least.
Yeah, if you remember an hour and a half ago before that.
I did, even though I watched it the next day. I watched the first 2 hours in one day, I watched the next later.
I should have done that.
I didn't mean to, but I just went to sleep because I was tie-tie. So then we get, like I said, I enjoyed pretty much the first hour and a half because it felt like Altered Carbon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I get that a little bit. I just didn't like it the same as that.
It just because Ryan Gosling was less charismatic than Kovacs.
Well, yeah, and that was the design of the character, but just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but you made that choice, so you got to deal with the repercussions of it. He's not as charismatic, so I don't invest as hard.
Right. And that's the thing, is it's hard to sell me on a 2-hour 47-minute movie on a character that's not charismatic and no characters really to root for in this.
Nope, not one. But I mean, you're more here for the world than for the plot. And if the plot doesn't get you, the world's not going to do much for you because the world was cool and I enjoyed it. But I've always said you can't flesh out a world in 3 hours.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
I watched this. I was like, this would be a good book or miniseries. So you could build up more to this and explain more and kind of flesh things out a little bit better. Because Jared Leto's character was basically fucking worthless. Didn't need to be in the movie. Speaking of someone who didn't need to be in the movie, basically after a bunch of stuff, figuring out where the child slaves come from, figuring out that he might have been there, or the child whose memory that was came from that place where they do his trafficking and have his sweatshop.
Right.
He ends up, trying to find the parent of the super replicant, for lack of a better term, and it leads him to Harrison Ford. Now, I saw him on the poster when I was clicking this, so I thought he was going to be in the movie. I didn't realize he wasn't going to show till the last 40 minutes, and even then have 20 minutes of screen time, and take up half that last 40 minutes, even though he... Sorry. But this is for people who watched that original Blade Runner.
Okay.
They did not tell you anything about this character, and so I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is. I don't give a shit why I should care. I understand that he's the parent of the thing. I went on the Wikipedia and read the synopsis for the first movie just to kind of understand what was happening, right? And so I was just like, this is pointless. Like, why is he here? And it just was dumb. He gets captured. Then you get the cool scene with Kay coming in and symbolically killing his oppressor, right? Like, he kills the chick, and that's him freeing himself and free of choice now kind of shit. And drives him to his daughter, and because they finds out that it was a daughter, it wasn't a dude.
Yeah.
From
it was the chick that was trapped in the bubble.
Yeah, and it was the chick that was trapped in the bubble. He finds that out from the space hoer, who implanted bugs on him, and then took him to the space terrorist federale
and freaked it.
The space freedom fighters. The space freedom fighters like, I was there when the child was born. I know it's a girl. And he's like, oh shit. And at least for me, I was like, oh, that's cool. So then that means that bitch is a lion-ass AI. And it says whatever you want. And they didn't really beat you over the fucking head with that. They're like, then they had the big-ass ad that's like, say what you want, do what you want, da-da-da-da, be what you want kind of thing. And I was like, oh, so he wanted to have purpose. So he convinced himself in the back of his mind that this is what he wanted. And since she was tapped into his head, she knew that's what he wanted and said it. And like, oh, I knew you were special, that kind of shit. So I was like, oh, that was all him this whole time.
Yeah.
Because then it threw me off because I expected more from this movie and thought that she was going to be something important that would have been like following him the whole time, which would have been cool.
See, after they didn't grab me after about an hour, I didn't really expect much, to be honest.
Same.
And then after Harrison Ford and it's different for people that have probably seen the first movie. I have not, so I cannot relate. But once that came up, I was just uninvested at that point. Before that, I was going to mention earlier when we were talking about actors. You see my boy Morgan from The Walking Dead?
No, who was he?
He was one of the people that Ryan Gosling talked to when he was talking to like a bunch of the slaves at once. There was like that crowd, and they were kind of like yelling at him.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. It was about halfway through.
Okay.
I forgot that dude's name, but he's a good actor.
Yeah, I just the last 40 killed me like really bad. Like that felt like it dragged its feet a lot because it needed previous knowledge from Harrison Ford from the first one. And like that's probably really cool for people who saw the one from the 80s. They were like, "Oh my god, it's been fucking 30 years. I finally get to see this." Da, 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 da. I'm like, I'm happy for you, blood. I really am. But as someone who just wanted to watch a good standalone movie, it didn't do it for me. So I was just like, okay, cool. And so I guess they're going to reveal her later to the world and show, hey, the replicant's going to make babies. Cool. And then him dying was, I admit, him dying was pretty dope at the end, where he just kind of bled out. He was like, okay, my mission's done here. I'm free. I'm just going to fucking die.
Yeah,
he lost his girl, bro.
So confused.
That was the most I've ever been like, okay, in a movie ever.
Yeah,
like,
I know, pretty much, dude.
I'm not invested in a fucking AI that he's fucking, dude. Like, he's dry humping and fingering an AI hologram. Bro.
It's like, what's for dinner, bro? Holographic meatloaf.
Yeah, holographic ass burgers. I'm like, oh, cool. I don't buy his emotional connection to anything because he was bland as toast the entire movie. So why would I be into it? The only one scene I did love was the 2 tests he had to do. Because, dude, I would have failed the fuck out of those tests. Yeah, dude, those were sweet because I would fail those so hard. What did you have for dinner tonight? Intertwined.
Dude,
do you suck
that's
dick?
Stressful.
No, intertwined. Intertwined.
That's stressful as shit, bro.
Yeah, that was cool. I like the second one where he was just like fucking snapping and crackling and popping under pressure. Any thoughts from you guys? Because you guys just let me describe the whole film.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, bro, because I really don't have much to say.
I didn't understand a lot of the movie, to be honest.
Did you? Even now that I explained it to you, do you still not understand? Because
No. Now that you've explained it more, I get it a lot better. But like when I was watching the movie, I was confused for a solid 2 hours because I just didn't know how some of these things connected.
You might want to start using the subtitles.
No, it wasn't a lack of being able to hear them. It's not I didn't know the things that they were saying. It's like I just legit didn't understand what was going on in the movie.
I'm a firm believer that brains process information better read versus heard.
I'd agree.
So that's why I said read it.
People learn differently. So that's
but
possible.
Again, I think the human brain, period, learns better from reading, not hearing.
Because you're seeing it.
Yeah, and you have to consume it. And when you read something, you say it in your head as well.
Exactly.
So you're getting double, right? Like you're visualizing it and you're like processing it into hearing as well. So a lot of times for me, that helps me consume it. And despite that, I still didn't have subtitles for this, and I was able to understand it. That's just because I kind of knew what I was getting into because I've heard about this movie and being complicated and shit. And anything in space, I already know, like, I got to put my thicky shoes on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey,
so I was like, cool, whatever. But this wasn't for me.
If I can understand what they're saying, I'm not going to read what they're saying as well.
This is probably, well, you should because it helps your brain again.
It depends on the movie, like you said. But
I mean, they told us in Spanish class that listening to it and then reading the words will help you consume it better.
No,
so
for sure.
I've always took that to heart, and as I get older, I use subtitles more now.
I just pure thoughts. I probably, if you gave me the job of breaking this down, I probably would have had 25-30% of what you had to say. But you mentioned the 30% that I was going to say, which was, him finding his daughter, the whole miracle thing, obviously Ryan Gosling's character switching up. I like Bautista's part for the first, 5 minutes. I was actually invested at that point. I was like, oh, cool. Like, it seems like a good plot line, and then kind of lost me along the way.
I thought something cool was going to happen.
Yeah, I was never really into it. Not for me either. I respect the people that, watch the first one and like this one as a sequel to it. I would like to hear from the people that haven't watched the first one and enjoyed this one, because that would be... I'm wondering why, I guess.
Because they're brain dead.
I mean, you're brain dead, they'd say, for not understanding it.
They'd say that, but...
Like, I understood it, I just didn't like it. So, like, but you guys...
I was somewhere in the middle.
And Tristan, you just didn't understand it, so you didn't like it. So that's kind of like why... That's why you're going to get that argument, is that, like, you're a doofus.
Well, I even understanding it now, it's still, like, I wasn't... They didn't get me with anything. Like, I wasn't interested in it.
Well, yeah, when you get the point of something after you watch it, it's hard to retroactively make you feel better than you did in the moment,
I mean, yeah, but even so, like, even not understanding it, there wasn't something that they did that I was like, all right, I'm invested in this, except for the first, 5 minutes.
I think it would have been cool if they had... I'm not going to suggest, because, again, people love this movie. But for me and my enjoyment, it would have been cooler if they had tried to sway him to believing in miracles throughout the entire movie, rather than him being the miracle, because he's like, you haven't seen a miracle. Like, that's what Bautista kept saying to him. And he played it in his head later on anyways. So I think it would have been cool if throughout, like, he had been more opening up to miracles at the end. And then when he did they should have saved the horse thing for later with him realizing that. And, like, he's like, yeah, I believe in miracles, He's like, oh, I believe in the miracle and I am the miracle. Instead of him being the miracle, convincing him that miracles can happen.
I could see that.
And then it would have been better if the AI... I like what the AI did characterization-wise. I don't like what it did for the plot. Because for characterization, it was pretty cool for Kay, because it shows you how just empty he is. But for plot-wise, I feel like instead you could have used the space hooker, Marionette. And if you had him and her have a relationship throughout, and then him start to invest into the miracle and be like, oh, if a replicant can have a child, maybe I can have a child with her. and believe in the miracle, you know? Like, so then he's got something to fight for, and then you kill her, and then you can still get to the same ending to where, like, he just gives up and dies anyways. But instead, you're invested because it's actually a really real thing instead of a fucking AI. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. Like I said, I like the world. You're saying. There's some choices they could have made here that would have made me enjoy this more. But again, I think this was made for a group of people who have seen the first one. And then if you haven't, you're just like, cool space cars, cool ass, dope world. Shut the fuck up for 3 hours.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I don't know. I didn't put that much thought into it, to be honest.
So don't come here telling me I didn't understand the damn movie.
No, I wouldn't. You can tell that to me,
though.
Tell
me that.
I did understand. I just, I didn't understand it to that extent.
Let me see. Ratings. What did we watch last week?
Peripheral.
I had Peripheral 5.5.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fucked because I think I like Peripheral more than this.
I know.
But then if I start giving it too low of a number, we're going to be open to death.
I know, dude.
5.
That's where I'm leaning, to be honest. It's about average.
Me too.
But I think that's because the length hurt it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you cut Harrison Ford down a little bit to the last 10, 15 minutes, you could have saved yourself an extra point. And just took out the beginning part where he introduces himself to him. That would have been sweet. So, yeah. 5. Fuck.
Yeah, I got a 5 all around.
Who put this on here?
My bad.
I mean, you did good because it's popular, but we're going to get fucked up in the comments.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
On
that's
Instagram and anything, bro. People are going to come in here and be like, y'all are fucking stupid.
I knew this.
Oh, okay.
I might start putting the scores in the thumbnail.
Oof.
Dude, that actually might get people to click and just be upset. Holy shit. Yeah, I would do that. Everyone give it a 5, or did someone give it a 4?
Yeah, no, we all gave it a 5.
I almost went 4 or 5, but
man, if we went under, whoo.
Hey,
That's the thing, dude. People think 7 is average. They don't know how to count. So
yeah, no. In school, 7 out of 10 is a C. We're not in school, and school also has a dumbass grading scale anyways.